Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Simplify Your Life Summit. My name is Justin Crosscare and I am your host, and I'm joined today by Darla DeMorrow. DeMorrow, did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Perfect. And if you can't tell behind her, she is a certified organized professional planner. And I'm really excited to have you on here because, this is something that's near and dear to my heart because I've learned how important it is to really keep your space, whether it be your office, your home, your kitchen, everywhere, as organized as possible because it helps keep this space a lot more open as well. And so thank you so much for being on here.
Thank you for having me on. I'm glad to be part of putting good stuff out into the universe.
Oh yeah, simplifying our life organizationally. And so you've been, featured on Forbes Online, Oprah Winfrey Magazine, also on, Good Morning America. Where did this all start? Were you always an organized woman, or is this something that you just had to because of life? Where did this all come from?
You know, I I don't tell this often, but since you asked so greatly and you asked just very directly, I, like many of us, had sort of a troubled childhood, split parents, all of that. We used to call it a dorky child. That's where the word dorky came from. I came home to an empty house after school, that sort of thing. And you actually said it before we got online here, but I think when you have a situation that you can't control, a lot of us will just lean back on what we can control, and we will really, lean into, if you want to say, we'll take control of the things that we can take control of, even if that's only a junk drawer or a our closet or lining up our shoes along the wall. Those kinds of things are very, very simple, and maybe they're not solving world hunger, but when you're in a chaotic situation, whether it's a home life or work situation, and you don't control everything, studies have shown that your perception of control is actually control. And the people who perceive that they are in more, that they control more of their world and their situation, those people tend to be healthier, and they tend to do better in their jobs. They tend to be happier in their jobs. So perceived control and being able to organize things so that you have control, that actually can make you a healthier person and literally live longer. So I came out of having a childhood that was a little bit chaotic, and I think that's why I ended up. I'm not OCD. I tell people my house is mostly organized, but I live with other people, so my soup cans
Yeah.
are in the pantry, but they're not alphabetized. So, I hang all my clothes, but I don't fold my underwear, like there's just
Yeah.
certain lines that I'm not willing to go across. So you can be organized without being OCD, and I do recommend that. And if you're in a chaotic situation, or maybe you're in a relationship, a marriage, a job that you don't love, being organized actually can change a lot for you.
Mm. Totally. For me, like the reason why I am more organized than I have been in the past is because stress has always been something very easy for me to get into. And what I realize is my environment, it clearly dictates how stressed I am or how worried I am or how frantic I am. So it's been something that I have learned throughout the years. But when it comes to being organized and also, just put together and neat and tidy, do you think that's something that people are just naturally born with, or you can learn it over time regardless of how you started out?
You absolutely can learn it. I think some people, like you, like me, maybe learned it on our own, and so we think we're kind of naturally organized, but these are things you learn on your own. Listen, I have two little girls at home, and it was amazing when I was they're 10 and 13 now, but when they were toddlers, when they were babies, it was just amazing how much they wanted to be organized. Little kids, if you spend any time around little kids, they want to sort things. It is natural in small children for them to want to put things in order. If you go into any preschool in the country, I guarantee you there are shelves and toys are on the shelves. And yet I go into homes where I'm helping moms and busy families, and they'll say, I don't know how to keep things organized. And I have to tell them, look, your kids want to help you. They want to sort. Now, they don't have all the skills, obviously, that bigger kids and adults have. But it's amazing how innate wanting order really is to small children and to all of us. Now, we get older, we pick up different habits, we get good at some things and not good at other things. It's okay. Not everybody has to be organized. I really feel, and I say this all the time, but I really feel like each of us came to this world with certain skills. God gave us certain skills, and we get to, run with those and do the best we can with those. That doesn't mean that everybody has to be organized. But like you said, and I truly believe this, most people, and studies do show this out, most people, if they are in a more organized environment, they tend to have clearer thinking patterns. They tend to reach decisions more quickly. They tend to not be so tired because they're saving their energy. When you have to constantly move things to get to things, to get to the thing that you meant to do, you're tired before you even got your thing done, right?
Yeah. I look at it as like almost life hacks. I think I was telling you on the phone, or maybe I didn't tell you this. So I was looking for my keys. So when I was in college, I'd lose my keys all the time, like all the time. And so finally I went to Petco, and you know how they have those dog tag little things. So I went in there and I made a dog tag with my last name and my phone number on there, and I put that onto my keys. Well, and this
Love
was
that.
my way of like, yeah, life hacking,
Yeah.
but since then I've never lost my keys. It's so funny. Ever since
Isn't
I
it?
made that change.
Yeah.
So I really think life throws things at you for you to learn how to handle them. And so life is like, okay, you got this one.
Right.
But that was just like a little hack. And I think that's really where you have developed into who you are today, is really hacking yourself into to where you are. And
What
with,
you created right there, I love that, and I'm totally stealing it, Justin, but what you
yeah.
created is actually a system, okay? And that's what professional organizers like me, I'm a certified professional organizer. I'm a member of the National Association of Professional Organizers. Sorry, we just changed our name. It's actually the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals. That's a mouthful, I know, but this is a full-time job for me. I work more than 40 hours a week. I have staff. We run a publishing company. We go out and work with clients 6 days a week. This is a real thing for me. And what we tell people all the time is exactly what you just said, is find a system or design a system that is going to help you solve your problems. Now, today the word hack has gotten really trendy and popular, and I love it
Oh
because,
yeah.
hey, it's what works for one person doesn't work for necessarily everybody else. But developing a system that you can use over and over and over again is really what will save your energy so that you can go use your brilliance on whatever it is you're put here on the earth to do. Because your brilliance, Justin, is not in locating your keys 5 times a day, right?
True that. It definitely isn't.
So we want you out there using your brilliance for other things and designing these systems so that finding your keys is an easy thing and not a stressful thing for you every day. And that's where the sort and succeed system comes in. I realized that I was helping people design, organize, sort of dig themselves out, right? They'd call me and say, I can't find my dining room table. You have to come help me. But then once we found the dining room table, how are we not going to get ourselves in the situation where we have to dig out again, right? Or once we
Yeah.
realize that some people, the hack for keys is have more than one set of keys. Now with the cars these days, you can't really do that because the electronic keys are hundreds of dollars to replace. But
Oh
back
yeah.
in the day when you could just get keys cut for a couple of bucks a piece, I mean, the hack was, well, put a set of keys every place you need your keys. Put some in your car, put some in your house, put some in your purse and your pockets, and every coat you own, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's a hack too. Now it's completely different than the hack that you came up with, but that's a different type of system. And so sort and succeed is 5 steps that you can use to organize everything. We're talking about home offices today, you and I. Home offices are
Mhm.
hot.
Oh
days.
yeah, especially right now.
Yeah, yeah. So as everybody's going home to be safe and healthy, and their companies are sending them home. My kids are off from school for the next 2 weeks. Probably by the time we air this, we'll all be looking behind us saying, "Gosh, what was all that about?"
Yes.
But home offices and every other room in your home, you know, you're going to be healthier. You're going to be more productive if you have systems that you don't have to reinvent. Let's not reinvent the wheel every time you need to get organized.
Yeah. So I would love to hear about this sort and succeed. What are these 5 steps?
Right. Okay. So I should sing the ditty. I actually went and had somebody write a song, Sort and Succeed,
I
and that's
love it.
available on my website. If anybody's like, "Ooh, I need this," I wrote what is essentially an earworm. That term is something so that a song gets stuck in your head, you know, like "Happy Birthday." But
Yes.
Sort and Succeed is 5 steps, 5 simple steps to organize anything. So step number one is to start with a written plan. And that's important because so many people were calling me saying, I need to get organized, just come make me do it. Well, they knew what to do. They knew they needed to do it, but actually getting started, that's the hard part. It's kind of like going to the gym, right? I know I should go to
Oh
the
yeah.
gym. I don't like going to the gym, but once I'm there, everything's easier, right? So getting started is really that first big hump that people had to get over. And so start, and I asked them to write down just one bullet point, what they're going to organize. So today I was working with somebody, and her, you know, entire apartment was really just overcome. But I said, we're just going to focus on the dining room table. We're going to clear the dining room table, and that took us about 3 hours. It was a big job. This was not a normal dining room table; like it had feet worth of
Papers
stuff.
and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was really piled high. So I don't want to scare folks that, you know, it should take you 3 hours to clear your dining room table if you have like one little stack of mail. This was not that situation. It was really overcome with household things. So anyway, our bullet point that we wrote down was to clear the dining room table, and that was all we did. That was, well, actually we did a little bit more, but we got to the dining room table, said, "Yay, we did it!" You know, high five all around, and that was it. Step two in our system is to organize into groups. And by that, I mean literally putting like things together. So put pens with pens, put, you know, all your staplers together, put all your books together. Don't try and get rid of things at this step. Just put them together, because once you have them all together, then you can decide on the merits of each very easily. But if you only have one thing in your hand and you're trying to decide, do I keep or do I not keep it? Where do I store it? What do I do with it? Those are hard questions when you only have one thing, right?
Hmm.
Step three is reduce, release, and reset. And that's after we've gotten everything together, everything grouped together, then we can go back and make decisions about items, whether we want to get rid of them, whether we want to store them in a different way, whether we want to even store them in the same room. And when we're dealing in home offices, there's paper and there's non-paper things. So both of those categories can be dealt with differently. I like step three because that's where we get to start to reset, put things back on shelves, put things, you know, in drawers. A lot of people get stuck there. So that's kind of the second speed bump that we run into when we're organizing. But it doesn't have to be a big deal. It's just, you know, work the plan a little bit at a time, and you
Yeah.
can really organize anything. Step four is tweaking. And this is honestly where I have to stop a lot of my clients and say, we don't start organizing by going to Target and buying plastics. Okay. That's not how you start getting organized. You actually don't buy anything to get organized until you get to step four, which is, okay, now I know what I have, I know what I'm keeping, and I know where I'm keeping it. But now if I need containers, that's step four. We've probably, at this point in the process, we've probably used temporary containers like shoe boxes, really any container that you've got around your house, I'll use as a temporary container. Laundry baskets, shoe boxes. A lot of times, you know, the boxes that iPads come in and iPhones are really
Oh
nice,
yeah.
like thick boxes, you know, they're really
Yeah.
sturdy, and sometimes people don't want to throw them away because they're so nice. I, you know, break them open in two parts, and I've got two boxes that I can put things in, and use them as drawer dividers or whatever. So those are the kinds of temporary containers that I'll use all day long. And a lot of times, like this gal I was working with today, a lot of times people buy plastic containers or metal bins or woven baskets, and they're so cute. They're drawn to the pretty things, but they have no idea how to use them. So usually, you already have what you need to get organized. Don't buy anything until step 4, if at all. And then
What's
step
the
5.
reason?
Mhm.
I'm curious because I just moved into a new place. It's a smaller apartment. I moved from a 4-bedroom house, so I had to let go of a lot of things and also organize. So in my mind, I'm like waiting until the grocery store and Target is maybe a little bit more calm. But I'm
Yeah.
thinking I get to go buy some organizational stuff and get ready. So what have you learned that says let's halt on that? Let's find some temporary storage, utensils or boxes rather than just going and getting.
Yeah, absolutely. Because usually when you're not a professional, you're not buying product all day long, which is what I do. You won't know necessarily how many of those things you need or the sizes. Knowing what size things are, it's not a skill that everybody has. So people go and they'll say, "Oh, that's a cute little basket at Target," and they'll buy one when they really need 10, or they'll buy 10 when they really only need 2. So
Mm,
now you bring these things home, and what are they? I call it storing air. So people will buy containers, bring them home, put them in the corner, think, oh, I'll use them someday. And a year later, all they've been doing is storing air with them. So I'd rather have people organize first, and then you've just gone through it. So you've unpacked everything, and you're thinking, oh gosh, I don't really have anything to put my, I don't know, tea bags in. I'd like a
yeah.
little thing here to put my tea bags in. That'd be really nice. Well, now after you've unpacked and you know that you have this many tea bags and not that many tea bags, now you know you need a container that's that size and not that size, right? So that's why we waited until step 4, because like this gal this morning, we started out, we found a whole bunch of paintbrushes. So we had like a little batch of paintbrushes. And then, we found a whole nother bag of paintbrushes. So now we have this. And all of a sudden I've got this many paintbrushes and I literally had to move to a bigger container. So it happens all the time, find your things first and then buy your containers.
Mm,
And then step
okay.
5 of the process is really almost the most important, especially if you don't like organizing. Not everybody likes it as much as you and I do, Justin. But step 5 is succeed and celebrate. And the reason it's so important is to have a reward out there for yourself. Pick a reward and say, I'm going to organize my dining room table. I'm going to clear the dining room table. I'm going to put things where they go. I'm going to be able to eat and sit and have a date over or have a friend over. And rewarding yourself after you've finished organizing is a way to literally train your brain. And you and I, Justin, I know we're on the same page. We can do anything we set our minds to. Doesn't mean we like everything just the same, but if you reward yourself for getting through a small project, your brain is going to say the next time you have an organizing project, your brain is going to say, oh, that wasn't so bad last time. It was, half an hour of organizing or whatever, and I get a reward afterwards. So you're training your brain, right? It's just like going to the gym. Me personally, I don't like going to the gym, but I like how I feel afterwards, right?
Totally. Yes.
So I've trained myself to say, okay, even though I don't love going, once I'm there, I'm good. And I really love the reward I get, which is all the good brain chemicals. And that's really,
Hmm.
it's a thing for me. It's important. It's a thing for a lot of people. So you train yourself to do a lot of things. I always tell people who say, oh, I'm not good at organizing, or, I'm naturally not good at organizing. I could never learn how to do whatever. And I say to them, don't give me that old dog, new tricks thing. It doesn't hold water, and I can prove it to you. Do you know why, Justin?
Why?
10 years ago, none of us knew how to text.
Mm,
10 years ago, none of us had a supercomputer in our back pocket. And now we're all walking around with supercomputers. Some of us even have cars that are just about driving themselves. We are training ourselves to do the things that we want to do.
Hmm.
So I guarantee you that if you want to be more organized, you can find a system. Hopefully, Sort and Succeed will work for you. If not, there are plenty of others out there, and you can train your brain to do the thing that you want to do.
Mm, that's so important. Something that I use as well, kind of similar to that with the reward. I definitely have a reward. I'll put on my pink Himalayan salt, and I also have some other lights that I use for when I go to bed, and I'll just lay on my bed and just enjoy the good energy of cleaning. But while I'm in there or before the process, something I do is see myself, that feeling of it being done
Yes.
rather than like the process, right? We always focus, and this can be for any area of our life. We always focus on, oh, I'm going to have to go to the gym and do all those curls. I love relating to the gym because it makes sense. Everyone has the same feelings, I
Yeah.
find. Um, but where for my gym, I'm like, okay, well, I can't wait to go to the beach here in San Diego and take off my shirt and feel great about it, or run my half marathon coming up in 4 months, or so I picture myself in the future, which is incredibly important. And so, as leaders, as people, or even mothers, and fathers, I know you mentioned earlier how your daughters love to organize. I remember when I was a kid, I didn't always listen to what my mother said, but I definitely watched what she did. Why is it so important for leaders to be organized?
You know, we are all leaders at some level, right? We are
Hmm.
leaders, especially the people listening to this summit, the people who are self-starters who came and are getting these messages, all these important positive messages. I was just telling my daughter yesterday, she's 13. She was born the same year the iPhone was born. Now, I remember we were talking before the age of the internet and the age of the
Yeah,
iPhones. When computers were new, we used to have this written. I think it was even maybe posted on our refrigerator when I was small. That there's this old saying of garbage in, garbage out. And I was explaining this to my 13-year-old, and she really had to think about that for a minute. What that meant, and that is when when I was in school, we would write our own computer programs like from scratch, and we really had to kind of get the hang of, oh, if I mess that program up, then I won't get the desired result out of it. Well,
mm,
as leaders, whether you are the leader of a household, whether you are the leader of a business, I'm a small business owner, so are you, whether you're a leader in somebody else's business as a manager, or somebody just in charge of a project, all of those folks, we all have to be aware of what we're putting into our lives and how we are modeling how we're living. Because if it's garbage in, it's going to be garbage out. And like you said, you're watching your mom. My kids are watching me. We're watching right now. And I know this will air in a couple of weeks. It'll be funny to watch back and see how
yeah,
this all plays out. But right now, we are all watching our community leaders and everyone from the president of the United States on down. We are watching our community leaders to see what they are doing to keep us safe, to keep our community resources at the levels that they need to be. So modeling is not just a thing we talk about. Modeling is something that we do every day. And organizing is modeling, right? I, it, I talk to so many people at different levels. Like I have four friends right now, friends and clients who are in high level executive job searches. And in fact, I help people organize their job search is one of the
mm,
things that I do. And they all know that one of the things that they can do to make themselves stand out is to be organized. Show up when you're supposed to be showing up. If you're following up on a job lead, or you say to somebody, hey, I want to have lunch with you next week, can I follow up and set a date? Then follow up. So many of us are on video conferences now. This is normal. 10 years ago, it was not normal. And I have my office set up. This is my real working office. It's not staged. The chair here, that's my assistant's chair when she's here. The stuff over here, this is actually some of our work that's going through the workflow right now. But I keep it this nice and this organized because I am modeling that I am in control. Going back to
mm,
what we were saying before, who do you think people want to hire? Do they want to hire the guy with the messy desk, or do they want to hire the gal who looks like she's in control? You
Oh,
know?
we want that control. Yes. Someone who
Yeah,
has it
so
all
that
put together.
absolutely, that's why it's important to model whether you are a leader or whether you aspire to be a leader.
Mm, that makes sense. And how you do anything is how you do everything, right? Whether you
No,
believe it or not, I found it very true for my life.
yes.
So I use that as mirrors. You have
I
something.
just, yeah, I
Go
just
ahead.
put out there actually yesterday, there's a lot of talk about working from home these days. A lot of people are going to have to work from home. And it used to be that now I've worked from home for, oh God, I almost hate to say, almost 30 years. Okay. I have worked from home before it was cool, before it was a thing. And a lot of people during that 30 years have used working from home as code for, I'm going to take a day off, but I'm not really going to call it a day off.
Mm,
But I'm with you. Integrity is defined as doing the right thing even when nobody's watching.
yes.
And so if your company is sending you home to work, guess what? You ought to be working.
It's really easy to get out of the mindset and say, I'm going to work from home, do little things here and there, but I'm also going to, enjoy it. Yes.
Right.
And that definitely shows up elsewhere if you have that mindset. So that's huge. You have the tickler file, and I would love for you to talk more on that. I know you were showing off before we got
Yeah.
on the video, so I'd love for you to share that and also why it's so important.
Yeah. So exactly what we were just talking about. It is so easy to get distracted, whether we are working from home or whether we have busy lives or whether we are trying to maybe do a side gig. Again, that's very hot these days, side hustle, whatever you want to call it. Everybody's trying to get ahead and do a little bit more and maybe write a book or whatever it is that you want to do. But it's so hard to follow up on those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the tickler system, I did not invent it, but I learned it somewhere along the way in my early adulthood. And as an organizer, I teach this to people all the time, and their eyes just go, oh my gosh, this could change everything. And it often does for people. So I'm going to show you, there's a little bit of show and tell here. This is see if I can get the camera angle right. This is a bin that I got off of Amazon. Links are on my website. People can email me directly and ask me where I got this, but it's on Amazon. It's actually made by a company that most people know called Smeed. And they are a made in the USA kind of company. I love them. But inside here, I have 12 hanging file folders, and they are labeled January through December. And just like you use a calendar, a regular old style wall calendar where you turn the page every month, um, in the same exact way that you use a wall calendar to hold your commitments, written commitments, and then at the end of the month you flip the page and you go to the next month. That's really the same idea for your tickler file. The idea is instead of having pieces of paper pinned to your walls and stuck to your computer monitor and scattered all over your desk, have a tickler file. So instead of stacking, now we're turning it and we're having the files hold pieces of paper or items that are going to remind you, tickle you, to do something in a certain time frame. So right now we're taping this in, or recording, sorry, old school. We're recording this in March. And if I had something that I needed to do, let's say in June, in the summertime, I don't want that hanging around my desk from now until June. I don't want it chasing me around my office. I want to put it in a safe place so that I can come back to it in June when I need it. And the tickler file, if you use it, it's very similar to how you use that wall calendar. Turn the files from front to back every month. In June, when I need to see that particular commitment again, it's going to be right there and I'm going to be looking at it. So
Mm-hmm.
this is something that helps my clients so much, helps me. I use it personally. I have one for my business and I have one actually for my home that is outside of my office. And it is so powerful that I actually made this one of the free giveaways for your session here.
So exciting. So what would be an example of something you would put in that tickler file?
So a good example, let me give you two. I'll give you one on the work side and one on the personal side. So on the work side, let's say you and I meet up out on the town. Somehow you and I connect, and I somehow get your business card. And I'm thinking, gosh, I need to touch base with Justin, but I can't do it in March because March is already shot. April, I would have been traveling. I think that's all changed now, but I can't.
Yeah.
April's not going to be good for me. But he said he's got this thing that I should touch base with him in the fall. I should really do that. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put Justin's card or a note. Hey, call Justin, and I'm going to put it in maybe August or September. And that way, when that comes around again, I can touch base with Justin. I have a little note. It can be something that I've handwritten. It can be something I've printed off, maybe something I've clipped to or stapled to your business card. And in August, let's say I put that in August. In August, I come back to it and I say, oh, right, I was going to get a hold of Justin. And I haven't been, trying to reshuffle that paper for the next 5 or 6 months. I've just got it right there. It comes right back to me exactly when I wanted to follow up. And you can say to me then, oh, I'm so glad you got a hold of me in August because I need you in September on my TV show or, whatever.
Put it in September.
Exactly. So that's a business example. On a personal level, I have 2 kids. Something that I'll do is throughout the year as I go around my community, I might pick up postcards or brochures of summer camps that I think they might be interested in. And they're getting old enough that they'll tell me, oh, Mom, I don't want to do that camp, but I would like to do the other camp. So I'll pick these things up all throughout the community, all throughout the year. And then I actually do I'm organized, so I'm ahead of the curve usually. So I do my summer camp planning in January. And so we actually just did ours a few weeks ago, and I actually signed my kids up. And when you do your summer camp, I know you don't have kids yet, Justin, but I'll give you a little tip here. When you do your summer camp signups in January, you can save hundreds of dollars. Okay. So when I sign my kids up in January, because I've put these brochures in my January tickler file, and in January I open it up and go, oh, kids, guess what? It's time to sign up for summer camp. And they give me their input and I sign them up for summer camp. Let's see, I send my kids away for 8 weeks, different camps. I don't send them away. They're, day camps and whatever, but 8 different weeks of camps. If I can save $50 on each camp for 8 weeks,
$100,
you can do the math on that, right?
Yeah, that's $400. It's a little thing, right?
Times 2 kids. So that might be as much as $800. And that's how much, that is a real number. I can easily save $50 per camp if I sign up before their early bird deadline. So that's an example of, hey, if you're on the ball, you use a tickler system, it can not only keep you organized physically, but it can keep you organized mentally, because I'm not going to be going, oh, got to sign the kids up. Oh, got to sign the kids up. You know how that, like, it goes through your head.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, yeah, I'll do that next week. So mentally, I'm keeping myself organized. And financially, oh, my goodness, maybe I can only hope that I've saved somebody on this call for $900 this year. That would make me so proud. If by the way, if that's the case for anybody, email me because I want to hear that story.
Yeah, you got to share that story. That's huge. I had 5 brothers. I have 5 brothers and sisters. So there's 6 of us in multiple sports. I don't know how my mom did it, but she was, always on top of it and proactive. That's why I got my planner, was because she had a planner, and if she was able to do it with 6, I should be able to do it with myself.
Right.
One other thing I want to talk to you about, because you sent me your awesome book, The Upbeat Organized Home Office. So thank you again for this. On page 15, you really caught my eye with 5 productivity techniques you didn't know were a real thing. Yeah. And I would love to end this with these, because each one of them, if you implement one of these tips, it will radically shift and change your life. And I'd love for you to just share about those. Yes.
So when I was researching for the book, and actually, as I've been researching throughout the years working with clients, I wanted to know, are there productivity systems that I didn't, I wasn't using? And of course, there's probably more out there. There's tons of productivity systems, but you don't have to buy something new. You don't have to reinvent your life. You're probably already doing some version of these, like you said, Justin, that you were like, oh, I could tick off that one. I do that one sometimes. Yes. Okay. So these are real. And the reason I put them in the book is because once people realize that they are legitimate productivity tips, they often can pat themselves on the back, and they feel much better. Like that person who who doesn't know how to organize, oh, I'm a mess. Oh yeah, they may already do some of these things. So give yourself credit and build on what you already know how to do. I mean, that's what the HR experts now are telling us. We succeed when we do what we do naturally even better, right? Don't focus on your
Yes.
faults. Focus on your strengths, really. Okay, so 5 productivity techniques that you didn't know were a real thing. My favorite, I will tell you hands down, is the 80-20 rule. It's got a fancy name. You might hear it called the Pareto theory, the Pareto principle. Wilfred Pareto was an 18th century economist, and he noticed that, hey, 20% of our population, the landed gentry, hold 80% of the land. He also noticed that 80-20 was coming up in a bunch of different places. We see it today. I will tell people, hey, you're probably wearing 20% of your clothes 80% of your time, 80% of the time, and 80% of the things in your closet you probably almost never wear. And that is true for almost everybody. So if you're trying to get to, say, a minimalist wardrobe, or just, not feel so crazy in the morning when you're getting dressed, can you look at that 80% of your wardrobe that you almost never touch, and can you do without it? Can you pare it down? I'm not trying to get rid of anything necessarily, but if you're trying to figure out like an easy way to get to a wardrobe that you love, a set of clothes that you love, it's really the 20% that you're already wearing all the time, right?
Yep.
This top, as you mentioned before, I'm on TV a lot, and I tend to wear the same top. I don't care if you see me, on 5 different shows in the same top. It looks good on me. I feel good in it. That really is the same kind of thing we do all throughout of our homes. In the kitchen, you use your forks and knives and spoons every day. The melon baller, not so much. Okay, so would your life be less full, or worse off if you didn't have a melon baller in your life? No, not at all, right? So that's the 80-20 rule. That's the first one, and hands down my favorite. The Pomodoro technique, you can actually just Google Pomodoro technique. It's a way of time blocking. It's a fancy way of time blocking. And really, a lot of us do this naturally. It's like, okay, I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes writing this report, getting this done, and then I'm going to let myself go get a fresh cup of coffee. Or, I'm going to spend 1 hour cleaning, and then I'm gonna take the kids out for ice cream, or whatever. That's time blocking. That's the Pomodoro technique. It's technically in the Pomodoro technique, in that actual iteration of it, you use 25-minute blocks of time followed by a 5-minute break, and you just do that over and over and over again. And that's what the other thing that you might hear it referred to as deep work. And we're losing the ability to do deep work because we're always getting interrupted with text and with whatever. So the Pomodoro technique can help you in a whole bunch of ways. It'll actually help you get things done, but it'll also actually train your brain to be able to focus for longer and longer periods of time. Eat That Frog is a book by Brian Tracy, but it's also a strategy. The idea is that if you get up in the morning and you do the thing that you really do not want to do, the thing that you want to procrastinate on all day long, if you do that thing first, everything else is easier in your day, right? So if you get up and I am not a morning person, this is not how I do things, but if you get up and go to the gym because you hate going to the gym, but once you're done with the gym, everything else is easy from there, that is essentially eating that frog, okay? The fourth one is the Seinfeld technique, or it's also called break the chain, or don't break the chain. And we've seen this forever. It's just a big wall calendar with big red X's for every day that you do the thing that you mean to keep doing, whether it's not smoking, if you're trying to quit smoking, or doing sit-ups every day. I'm coming up on a big birthday here, and I want to get back to doing splits.
Ooh.
Like, yeah, hey, it's, better than the alternative, right? I'm celebrating. So, but I would like to be able to do a full out splits with my legs, front and back, because I used to be able to do that easy. And I am trying to stretch every day so that I can get back to that level of flexibility. I'm really, really close. But every day I want to be able to do that thing that gets me closer to my goal. And if you do that and you put a big red X, or any color really, on a calendar, and you do it every day, once you get a bunch of those going, you're like, oh, I am not going to mess up. I am not going to break that chain. It's really a visually motivating factor for a lot of people. So it's something to work with. And then the last one is actually a productivity technique that I learned when I was in corporate, and that's the parking lot. So if you're ever in a corporate meeting and people are like, yeah, we're focused on this topic, but don't bring up the other thing. If it's sort of a side topic, a lot of times people say, I'm going to write it on the board over here. We're just going to put it in a parking lot so that we could stay focused on our actual topic. And so for individuals, we can do the same thing. If I need to get some work done, when I was writing the book, for example, I would say, I'm going to write. I have to write an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours today, whatever it is. Every time I would have a thought come into my head that's like not related to the book, but something I need to do something with later on, I would just write it down, and then it's saved, it's safe, but I can focus right back in on my big project. Okay.
Yeah.
So those are the 5 things that some people might be like, oh yeah, I'm already doing that. But any one of them, like you said, any one of them can really skyrocket your performance and change how you get through your day.
Yeah, just real quick, I want to touch on how I utilize 2 of those specifically. The Pareto, I've been using a lot lately because I've been up to a lot. And so typically I use my iPhone, and now with the timer, it comes up and it says repeat. I don't think it did that before. So I'll put it on 20 minutes. And because it's so easy for us to get distracted, just pressing that repeat keeps me in the method of, okay, it's been 2 times that timer's gone off. Now it's been 40 minutes. Now it's been 60 minutes. Okay, now I can take my break. And then also, if you are someone who, like myself, and I'm sure yourself, runs their business out of your phone, the other thing I have too is a little kitchen timer. So if I want to turn my phone on airplane mode, which I do, I'll grab the kitchen timer and do that as well. Do you have one? There we go.
This is the time timer. I wasn't going to talk about it specifically, but I love it. In fact, I used it with my client this morning. It's so easy to use. You turn a dial, and it's great for visual people, ADD people especially, because they can see the time evaporating. And kitchen timer. We all have a timer with us on the phone, but sometimes I just got to see it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yep.
And then with the parking lot, I call that the brain drain. Same thing. So I have my brain drain. I have a little notepad, or I have, index cards are my thing. So I'll bring an index card with me, either when I go to meditate, or when I go to read a book, or I go to work on something productive, because it's so funny. I'll be like, okay, I'm going to focus on this. And maybe those tasks came to me when I was reading a book, and then I can't remember anything when I go to it. But when I read a book, everything in my world comes to me at once. And rather than keeping it up here, I just write it on a piece of paper. And that's been so beneficial for me, because comprehension has been something I've been working on. But the parking lot, I love it. So extremely powerful. So many just tips and tricks that I know all of us have gotten from this. So I greatly appreciate it. And I'd love for you to talk about the 2 gifts that you do have for all the listeners and viewers as well, because I know they're going to be really excited about those.
Yes. I love that you are offering, not only expertise, but really valuable gifts to people. And they should go and get them from all of the speakers, because a summit like this, you can really end up with a year's worth of really valuable information and just one tip from what I talked about today, or what any of the other speakers talked about, those can be huge. So the gift that I have, if folks want to go to simplifysummit.heartworkorg.com. So it's simplifysummit. My company name, heartworkorg.com. What I'm offering is the 3 free downloads that are there. And one of them is a 2-page description on how to use the tickler file. So if you didn't quite, get the hang of it today, that's no problem. There's a short written description on how you use the tickler system, and I really want people to download that. And the other thing that, in the vein of helping people get their home office organized, which now is more important than ever, did you know that 42% of the American population, no, 42% of American professionals worked at home some or all of the time in 2018?
I did not. That's going
I'll
to be
be
interesting to see what this is.
I'll
Yeah.
be interested to see what the number is after 2020. Yeah, so that means about, I mean, it sounds really high, but what that really means is that 60% of the American professional population doesn't really have a lot of experience working from home. So we can't assume that everybody has a home setup, like mine, like yours. So I wanted to offer a paper management course that I have online. It's very affordable. I think it's $49, but I'm going to slash it in half just for the people who are on this summit. So it's 50% off the paper management course. It's a digital course. If you are listening to this this session, then you have enough online skills to be able to take the digital course. It's really just watching me demonstrate more paper management organizing skills and going through, again, the tickler file and a whole bunch of other things. So it's 50% off. And that information is also at that same webpage, simplifysummit.heartworkorg.com.
And I'll put that link on your page as well, so it'll be easy for everyone to click. And then also, I just want to, and I didn't tell you I was going to do this, but I'm going to put in a plug for this book, The Upbeat Organized Home Office. I know I mentioned it earlier, but what I love about it is it's 135 pages, so incredibly simple. And of course, being a professional organizer, the way it's written, as I just started this, is extremely simple and to the point, which I love, obviously, hence my summit, Simplify Your Life. So that is amazing as well. Where can people find you, get this book, and then also find you on social media as well?
Yeah, I'm all over the place. I'm either at Darla DeMorrow or at HeartWork Organizing on, everything, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. I don't hang out on Twitter too much. Sorry, it got really ugly there for a while, so I took myself off of it. We got to all take care of ourselves, right? LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn. HeartWorkOrg.com is my website. You can find all my books and classes there. The book that you mentioned, and I have 3 other organizing books as well. They are all available on Amazon. And so you can buy them there in ebook form and in print form.
Awesome. That is so cool, and so awesome of you just to give your knowledge and wisdom to not just the viewers on here, but the whole world, because we can all use a more simplified home office and life in general. And it really starts there, right? It's where you start your morning and end your night is your home or even your office. We work a majority of the time of our life at our office. So whether it be at home or whether it be at an office, we want to make sure that we're organized so we can be there for our families, be there and accomplish the goals that we have. So many other things are possible when we have that. So thank you so much, Darla. It was a pleasure having you on here. And I know our viewers are going to be so excited to watch this and gather so much knowledge from this.
And you know what? I would be so thrilled to hear from anybody who, I've given them a tip that is an eye-opener, or I just really love to hear from people and learn what we're saying, Justin, how it impacts them. That really, really lights up my day. So I would encourage people to reach out to me if they've gotten some big takeaway or need a little bit more help.
Definitely. Well, thank you again so much. I appreciate it, and have a great rest of your day. And looking forward to hearing all the, the feedback from this, because I know there's going to be a lot of it.
Thank you.
Yep.